Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Thank you so much for being here today. And welcome to the third session of the ABC week. This is our last one for this first week where we're going to be talking about SOPs and how can you fix issues in your catalog. So, welcome everybody. I'm super excited. We finally made it. I honestly thought it was going to be more painful, but it's actually not. It's been extremely fun. Hello from Spain. Yay. I'm glad that you liked the other sessions, even though the second one was like, had a few issues, but we already solved it. The editor of the video already put the flat file there. So you're going to have that. Welcome again, everybody. Thank you so much. This is Friday. This is my outfit for Friday. I'm so excited. Yeah, so few housekeeping stuff. Hello from Pakistan. Hi. Um, yeah, let me go back to presentation just to do a few uh, housekeeping stuff. So today's presentation is about the processes that you can do to fix issues in your catalog. So pulling the presentation. Perfect. So, how to solve issues in the catalog. And as I mentioned, if you were with me, the first and second session, especially in the second session, I was talking to you about the things you could do and you cannot do with flat files. Most of the things that we're going to talk today are both. So, oh yeah, before holiday. Today is like a long weekend. Okay, so going again with the things you already know, you made it to the last session of the ABC week. First session was Monday. We talk about Toolkit. You guys know about all of the things that you can use in Seller Central and outside of Seller Central to make your business more efficient. On Wednesday, we spoke about flat files, and like I went down on flat files. Honestly, it's so funny because I really think I will need maybe 12 hours to really explain everything. So we did it in an hour and 40 minutes. Thank you for all of you that stay with me throughout the session. And today, SOPs. So I'm gonna do theory at the beginning just to explain the framework of the bigger issues that we constantly come up with in when we're working on Seller Central and when you have your catalog on Amazon. And then I lay out all of the questions that you guys submitted. And I said in the other sessions, I said like, yeah, we're gonna cover them in the sessions that are related to the topic. But because the first one and the second one were so fast and I didn't have enough time, today's the one where we're gonna answer those questions. So feel free to put more questions if you have any. Please do a 12-hour class on flat files. Well, that's going to be more like a course. And that's exactly why the ABC week is for. I want to test the content. I really want to see what you like, what you guys like, what you don't like, what you guys need. Because in my mind, when I try to create this content, I went like rabbit holing, and I create a huge framework. And then it's like, wait, but people just want to see like this. So thank you, Diana and Diane. Like, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but two of you, let's do it. 12 hours down, let's do it. Hi, everybody. Hey. Okay, so let's get into it. And you're gonna be rolling your eyes on me again because again I'm gonna talk about catalog contribution issues. But today I'm gonna give you a quick tip on the they some of the teams that are inside of Amazon. So the seller support teams that you can refer to when you have an issue. So let's get into it. You already saw the pyramid. I touched this pyramid in the first session, in the second session, and today. Again, reiterating the importance of why the contribution rights matter so much, especially when we're talking about catalog issues. So you guys already know the principles. If there is somebody with a higher contribution points, they will have precedent in your contributions. But one of the things that we realized recently, this is fresh content that I have. I don't know for how long they've been in the backend, but we recently discovered this, and there is a team in the catalog department on seller support that is in charge of making the catalog more user friendly or having a better customer experience. We already know that they don't know nothing. They basically know nothing about our product. They don't know anything about Amazon, whatever. But the thing is that they are above all of the sellers and even above the brand registry theme. And this is called the data augmenter. So these guys are ghosts in the backend of the catalog, and they have 52.1 points, which basically overrides everyone down the brand registry team, which has 52 as well. So when I see, and this is recently, probably that's why I realized about this team lately, is that they are making changes constantly to our listings. This is especially true for resellers and for big brands. So bear with me. This is still important for brands, but for you guys to have an understanding, this team it has the ability to override anything in your listing. So when we talk, and this is the classic question, like, oh, I got a hijacker. Probably it's not even your competition that is hijacking your listing. It's an internal team on Amazon that is doing those changes to your listing. So they're called data augmenters. And why this is important to know? Because when we know, and we could ask seller support for this, when we know that it's them that they're making the contribution, we can raise a ticket, we can escalate the case to them directly and make our case or our argument based on what we want to change. So if you were with me in the second session, I talked about what are the references. So for example, if you want to change the title name or the pro title, you use the convention that they have in the backend saying item underscore name, and you open the case and say like, hey, Amazon team, I need to change the item name for this specific ASIN, and this is why. So the things that they're going to need from you once you raise a case to them and argue for the change is mainly the manufacturer website. So for all my friends here with brands, make sure that the information that you have in your Shopify store or whatever other platform you use, it is the same one that you want to have on Amazon. And this could be only for the purpose of having that change on Amazon, having that case open and making those on Amazon. For example, if you want to change the title and you want to argue again to the team that says like, hey, I need to change this, you could change the title that you want to have on Amazon on your Shopify just for the sake of the case. And once that's changed, you can change it back to whatever is good for you on your Shopify. But manufacturer website takes precedent over any other proofs, and also real images of the product. So going into your warehouse and taking an ugly picture, like the uglier the better. It needs to be good quality, but it doesn't need to be like white background or anything like that. It could be literally in your hand, especially showing the barcode, the ASIN or the UPC or whatever you have to recognize the product on the FC. Super, super important. But I think I'm doing like a huge thing. How do you reach 52.1 data augmenter? Diane, through a case, and we're gonna work through the process of getting to them. But the main thing that you need to ask when you face a contribution issue in your listing is knowing if it's really an internal team that is contributing. So seller support could tell you, or they can tell you if you properly ask, they can tell you if the contribution comes from a seller, comes from a vendor, or comes from an internal team. If it is an internal team, most of the times it's the data augmenter, unless it is the retail team, which is the higher team on top of vendor, right? The retail team. So we're gonna talk about how can you reach them. So let's talk about the catalog contribution issues. And I know that the amount of questions that I get in social media and everywhere where I go about catalog issues are at the beginning for me, and this is so interesting, right? I can geek about this all the time, but they sometimes look like completely separate and disgregated issues, but in reality, there are mainly three issues. It's a, a contribution issue, right? And we're going to talk about this as if it was a disease. So we have symptoms, we have the causes, and we have the treatments. Okay, so what are the symptoms? That your attributes are locked. That means that you cannot change the title, not you cannot change the pictures, whatever it is. So whatever the scenario, you cannot change. The other thing is that it's showing the wrong information. For example, it's showing the wrong picture, even though you have the right picture in the back end, or it's showing something different in or on Amazon.com in the pro detail page, but you have something different in Seller Central, or that other people, anyone, is contributing to that listing. So those are the four main symptoms that I recognize in every single question that I have about catalog. So I want to do today the exercise of how can you think through this framework, so when you face an issue, you can easily get to the main cause, the main root cause, right? Because you already know the symptoms and then the treatment. So today I'm going to give you basically the three treatments to fix these issues. But before that, let's talk about the causes. It is important, once we understand the symptoms, it is important to recognize what is the root cause. Probably that's the most important thing that we're gonna do throughout the whole framework when we run our issues through this like big SOP, because the conversation with seller support, if you need to engage with them at some point, the conversation changes. And we can save a bunch of time if we understand really, really well the causes and we can communicate to them what these causes are so they can fix it faster. Okay? So I just like name here a few causes, the ones that I really think are the most common ones. You could probably find 30 more, but those are not really common. And again, what we want to do with this framework is to go back to basic principles and treat this as a regular issue, right? It's like every time I have this, I can run it through the framework and this works, right? Don't really get it too deep into the really specifics, because at the end of the day, most catalog issues are or have the same root cause. So first thing we have is hijackers changing information. That's probably the one that most sellers will refer to automatically. If they see a discrepancy in the catalog, everybody thinks that they are being hijacked. Probably that's not true. Probably it's not. That's not true. That the fact that your competition is changing your information, that's little. It has very little probabilities to happen, rather than some discrepancies or in the catalog or a contribution with an internal team. So other sellers with higher contribution, this is more on the reseller perspective, when we share the listing or the buy box with more people, somebody could come with higher contributions to make those changes. Then the internal team to enhance the pro detail page, and that's the data augmenter. Okay, that's the name of the team. To be very honest, the name of the team, now that you know it, and you're gonna feel super enlightened, about it, and you're like, oh my god, I now know what's the name of them. That's not gonna really serve you much in the sense of like, probably if you call seller support or you send an email and say like send it to the data augmenter, they won't pay attention to you. And one I'm gonna tell you, the SOPs that I'm gonna share with you are very basic and were built based on the rules that we have designed to talk to seller support. Even though we know a bunch about their system, their tools, and all that, when sellers use their same acronyms or the same slang or the same terminology, they have a lot of resistance. Okay, so if you go there and say like, you need to talk to the data augmenter and tell them to use the Spock tool and then to run it through a Tico, la 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 la, all the like sexy names they have, that won't get you anywhere. And I could tell you that's from experience. Actually, when I was building this content, I did it myself. So I went there, opened a case, called them, and tried to do it just to prove that I really have a process that works all the time. When you tell them those kind of terminology, they push back immediately. So they have, and I found out then when I was talking with somebody, they told me, so seller support told me that they are not allowed to speak to sellers in the terminology that they use internally. So it is important to understand that you have the knowledge, you already understand how the system works, but you need to, communicate that in a way that is more seller friendly. You know, we are experts and we are trying to be the masters of the catalog, but this could underserve you if you're not using properly. So going back to the causes. So the other thing that we have is the desynchronization of the system. And I have a few questions that you guys submitted that is about desynchronization. That means that the catalog, like Amazon algorithm, is not refreshing in the back end, so you can, or your changes could go through. This doesn't have anything to do with somebody else contributing in a higher position. Then we have retail ownership, again, a higher position. The seller is not listed as the owner of the brand. This is very common, super, super, super common. And I've seen it lately, especially, and this is something that we still don't understand how really, or what is that the brand registry team is seeing. But apparently, or lately, I'm seeing that brand registry is flagging accounts for abusive behavior, but they don't tell you what's the abusive behavior. And because of that, they have the rights, or the ability to block brand registry contributions for your listings. So a lot of the issues that I'm seeing now, it's because there is no connection between your brand registry and your catalog in Seller Central. And you guys know, for the ones that have brand registry, you guys know that brand registry is actually a different platform. It's somewhat integrated in Seller Central, but the login is different, or could be different in a separate website. So that's the other SOP that we're gonna see very frequent for brands now. Seller is not listing as the owner, brand registry attribute. Okay. Winning contributions from other marketplace. Oh my God. Another one, super frequent. You guys open your account in the US, and therefore automatically you enroll in global listing, and you have Canada and you have Mexico, and people are reselling there, doing arbitrage or drop shipping or whatever, and they're contributing, and the changes are coming back from those marketplaces. Huge thing. Huge thing. We're gonna talk about that too. And lastly is when the seller is not contributing in the right SKU. and I talk about this in the first session. If you were not here for the first session, make sure to watch that one. But what I basically explain is how the catalog uses original SKUs, not ACEs, SKUs, to win contributions. So when you're making changes, if you're not doing it through the original SKU, you're basically missing an opportunity to be the winner of the contribution and blah blah blah. So let's get into it. We talk about the causes, but in principle, or the main principles of all those different symptoms and all those different causes can be put or categorized in three main types. So the first one is data desynchronization, that we're going to talk about. Then authorized contributor. This means the brand registry connection. And the second one is the discrepancy in the backend. That is mainly because other ones are contributing to your listing. Okay, so those are the three. I run this, so I try to make some frameworks that are simple and make sense. I've run most, I'll say 99% of all cases in the catalog, and all of them apply for one of these types. There could be another type, which is like, we don't really know what's happening. It's like, it's a big question mark, but those are super rare, which it's not worth it for us to just discuss about those rare cases, because they don't happen quite often. I have only seen them like a couple of times through all these years working with the catalog. So these are the main three. Okay, so let's talk about data desynchronization. The definition of this issue is the system is not updating the most recent contribution. Okay, so you change the color and the color is not reflecting in the front end. But, and the caveat here is that it changed in the back end. So for example, if you're gonna change the color and instead of being white, you want it to say black, you now see in Seller Central that it says black, but in the front end, it still says white. And this happens a lot with images. A lot. It's probably the most frequent attribute for this kind of desynchronization. So what are the tools that you're going to be using? Referring again to our first session. So self-solving tool is the one that is important, because we're going to be able to diagnose that the issue is a data desynchronization. And this is the self-serving tool will be our best friend to know what type of catalog disease we have. We can have type 1, which is data desynchronization, type 2 which is authorized contributor, and type 3, which is Amazon backend discrepancy. Okay? So we have the other tool we have is flat files. In most cases, a data desynchronization is solved through flat files. And in case that it's not, you cannot solve it through flat files, there is always seller support cases. And the severity of this is very low. You are not facing a huge thing. This is probably low maintenance situation that will take you, if you don't know anything about this webinar and if you didn't come to the ABC week, it could probably take you a day or two. If you come here, this could probably take you maybe 2 hours at maximum, without counting the fact of seller support replying to you, of course, but not that much. So the data, so when I said about the self-serving tool, remember in the first webinar, we talked about the self-serving tool. This is in the help section where you can run through and say, like, I want to change this attribute for this listing. The answer for that tool that will tell us immediately that this is a data desynchronization issue is it's there. It says you can update it from your inventory by navigating to the edit product page. So what's basically saying is like, hey, you are the owner of the listing. You are the creator of the listing and you have this listing in your managed inventory. So go to your managed inventory and change it. So I already know that the system is recognizing me as the contributor, as the owner, and I just need to change it in the back end. But I'm changing it in the back end, and I still don't see it reflecting in the front end. So that's the discrepancy. We need to close that breach. Okay. So first thing we're gonna do, and that's the treatment for type 1, which is data desynchronization. That's the first type of disease. So the Seller Central solution is downloading the category listing report. You already know that. And why I always refer to the category listing report, guys, is because, and it's so funny, I was telling the team the other day in the webinar too, I didn't finish my slides. I had like 2 other slides to conclude why the category listing report is so big, so important. But whatever, the point is that we need to use our most updated and optimized category listing report as our database and as our point of reference every time we want to make a change. So try to make those changes always in the category listing report. And what I do recommend you is just delete everything else. If you're just working with one ASIN, delete all of the other ones that are not going to be changed or are not relevant for this specific issue. But always use the same template, because that will, again, give you those brownie points, those contribution points, because the system will see you as the main contributor. And when you do it with the flat file with all the attributes, it's just refreshing contributions. So that's the first step. You should have it. You should already have your category listing report fully optimized and ready to make changes. The second thing is, for this specific data desynchronization, again, we are working with something that is not closing, or it's not reflecting in the front end. My first step is deleting this queue from the manage inventory, or for the inventory, with the X-delete, for the inventory loader file X-delete feature. I'll do this just without seller support telling me what it is. So if I run the self-serving tool and the self-serving tool is telling me that I own it and they see that, now this is a discrepancy in the backend. I need to refresh it. The best way to refresh that is through the inventory loader file with X-delete. So I'm gonna delete it for 24 hours or more. We are working right now in the agency, we're working with the sweet spot of 48 hours, which it sucks. I know, like, having the ASIN down for 2 days, it's not great, but it is what we need to do to make the change and to be sure that that data desynchronization is back. If we try, so this is one thing, if we try to do this through seller support directly without doing these steps, it could probably take us a week or more to fix it. So that's where you gonna balance the risk. I have the ASIN deleted for 48 hours, or I waste like 1 hour and a half of my life trying to solve this issue through seller support. Again, something that you need to decide, but this works 99% of the times. So I said in the third point, deleting it for 24. Again, that's the main recommendation, because the system updates every 12 hours, but 24 is a safe bet. I do 48 or 36 in case that this is something that is not as complicated. And then uploading the category listing report with the change that we did to the ASIN. So for example, we're trying to change the title. You're gonna upload that in full update. So I mentioned to you in the other session, in the session number 2 for flat files, I mentioned the difference between partial update and full update. Make sure you do full update. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. Again, what we did here was deleting the ASIN from Amazon's catalog, waiting that getting the system to refresh so they see that this ASIN is not there anymore, and then uploading again. Classic question that I get all the time when I talk about X-delete. They told me like, I'm gonna lose the reviews. No, the answer is no. You are not gonna lose the reviews if you do this. You are not going to lose ranking either. You're obviously going to have the impact of being down or being out of the market for the hours that you spend without, not having that offer active. And probably you're going to see a bump up in your BSR, but it's nothing super dramatic, okay? So don't worry about it. You're not going to lose sales history or anything like that. It's going to stay there. What we are telling the system is like, hey, refresh the information in the backend. Super hardcore refresh. If that doesn't work, classic. If that doesn't work, this is the seller support solution. So, oh, Siri. This is a seller support solution. So I put here a blurb that we use in the agency. We like to do cases over the phone, especially when it comes to catalog contribution issues. But I I put here the blurb because this will help you if you do cases via email. This is basically a thing that you're gonna copy and paste, basically. And if you do it over the phone, this will give you a draft to communicate that. So what I'm saying here is like, hey, we are the brand owner of this ASIN, and we are trying to change. As you see here in the parentheses, I put attribute underscore name. Again, refer to the name of the attribute that you're trying to change based on the third row of your category listing report. Huge. It's important. It will save you so much time. Okay, so the main thing here, and this is probably why most sellers have, um, you know, problems with seller support, is that they don't know how to communicate with them. The principle why Amazon exists and basically their core value is putting the customer first. So the first thing that you need to do each time you talk to seller support, even if it's a super like silly question or silly thing to solve, is that you are prioritizing the shopping and customer experience. Okay, that's the first thing. Once they see that, they hear that, it's just like magic to open their minds and their ears to help you. Okay, that's the first thing. So then you're gonna say like, hey, the changes that I'm trying to do are not reflecting there, and you need to lay out all the things that you did. So in my case, I said like, hey, the changes that I'm trying to do are not reflecting, and I already submit the changes in Seller Central, submit it through a flat file. I wait 24 hours to see, and it still doesn't look like it's synchronizing. Okay? So my question for them is then, can you please force a refresh in the backend to update the new contributions? So there is a key here. Force refresh. There is a SOP. There is a process they have that is related to force republish information. So basically pushing it. Super. Like, obviously they have the main power in the back end. So they push that contribution to be done there. And that way is that how I communicate it. Okay. This is the way you do it. Probably if you do it right and if you follow all the instructions, you just only need one touch with them, especially if it's over the phone. Just one call, 20 minutes maximum. Like if you really know what are you doing, it's like maximum 20 minutes and that will be solved immediately. So they, once you do that and once you show them your batch ID that you deleted and once you show them the batch ID that you uploaded again and all that, that's super easy for them to republish or like force the publish. Under the blurb there, I put documentation. The documentation needs to, or I put that there. It's just for you to have a little bit of guidance on what are the documents or the proof that you need to attach to that case in order for them to actually pay attention or say like, yeah, this case is actually, or this seller is actually saying the truth and all that, blah blah blah. So I said there the batch ID. Obviously, when you upload the category listing report, and you could put the batch ID of the deletion in the inventory loader file, screenshots of the discrepancy between the backend. So imagine that you're changing to the color black. So you're gonna take a screenshot of you having the contribution of black, and then a screenshot of the pro detail page with white. So you're proving that discrepancy. And the manufacturer website, this is not as important in this specific type of contribution issues, because they know that this is a discrepancy within their system. They're not trying to prove if you're really the owner of the listing. Okay, let's see the highlights. Highlights here are, obviously you need to delete the ASIN, have it deleted, do it through the inventory loader file. Don't do it in Seller Central. Just, if you want to be efficient, just don't do it in Seller Central. If you want to do it in Seller Central, well, that's up to you. But you already know, once you know, you don't have any excuses, right? Data desynchronization. And I call it that way because it is the terminology that they use for these kind of issues. So once you mention that, you are so you're understood better, right? They say like, oh, okay, this is a data desynchronization, instead of them thinking of like what this could be. So what you want to do each time you get to seller support is that you want to basically solve the issue before they even think about it, so they follow your instructions rather than that you being a passive person, like in the phone, like waiting for them to solve it. So that time that sellers say like, oh, well, but I spent so much time waiting for seller support to answer me, they put me on hold. That time on hold is them doing an investigation. But if you did your investigation first and you open the case with all this information, they basically just need to make some clicks in their backend, and they don't really need to investigate anything. Then force republish, that's the internal tool. That's why I said like, please force the contribution. That's the internal tool. They have to do it. And for images, and I said this in, I believe was in the first session, but images are a subjective attribute. And what I mean by this is they have a process, or they have some guidelines on what to put in the images. So that's basically whatever they think is better, which it doesn't make any sense. If you ask me, it doesn't make any sense, because seller support or the data augmenter or the catalog team or the captive team shouldn't be making these decisions, but they do. At the end of the day, they do. So if you have images or image problems, make sure that whatever you want to change and post in on Amazon, it is in your manufacturer website. Why? Because when you prove it, and when you say the manufacturer website and you say like, hey, I want the images, I'm changing the images, and this is the manufacturer website, blah blah blah, they don't have any argument to say like, oh, these images are not good, right? Because we have that control. So again, if it's only for the purpose of resolving the case, put those images in your manufacturer website. That will help you a bunch. Okay. So, okay, then we're gonna go, and this is, I don't understand why time flies so fast when I'm like teaching this. It's been like 48 minutes and I'm not even close to finishing. Okay, let's run. Okay, catalog, authorized contributor. This definition is seller is not recognized as the brand owner. And I said that before. There is a discrepancy because between the ownership of the brand registry and the trademark and your seller central account. So again, this could be kind of a desynchronization, but it's not in the catalog level, it's in the account level. Okay, so they are not recognizing you as the owner of that brand, therefore you're not the owner of the listings. What is our tools to fix that? So obviously the self-serving tool, because you're gonna recognize when you run it through it, you're gonna recognize that that's type number 2 of the catalog issues. Then flat files, seller support cases, this is like 50-50. 50% of the times you can't solve it through flat files, 50% of the time you need to solve it through cases. And the severity is medium to high. depending on the situation or depending on the status of your brand registry, this could be a very high level issue that it needs to be run through leadership team on the brand registry, or this could be medium, which is just like, oh, a simple discrepancy in one ASIN. Okay, sometimes happen that you are still recognized as a whole in the account as the owner of the brand registry, but one ASIN is just out of the bucket, and it's common. So let's see. Treatment. So treatment for type 2, the Seller Central solution. Login in the main Seller Central account. And why I say this? First of all, the main seller account technically should be the address, the email address and the account directly attached to the brand registry. So if you use the same email, and I do recommend you guys to do it, obviously most of you already have the trademark, and if you don't have it, well, it's already done. There's nothing you can do, but use the same email address that you used to create that selling account to create the brand registry account. So the identity is the same. If you don't have it, well, that's another case, and we can, talk about that of this webinar and could help you to troubleshoot some stuff. But most of the times it's the same. Logging in there, right, and use the oldest SKU that you or the original SKU in the managed inventory. So something like this. If you see here, I have two SKUs. The first one that I created in 2019, right? That's when I created the product on Amazon. And then one that I created in 2022 just to send inventory to FBA. Okay? So when I log in my main seller account, the one that is connected to a trademark, I will make changes in the ASIN that is the original, in the SKU that is the original. Okay, so those are the two things that will help us in our end to make sure that we are recognized as the owner of that listing. So wait average an hour to make the changes, to have those changes reflect in the back end, and move on. Again, I told you this is a type of treatment that is 50-50. Sometimes works with Seller Central, sometimes it doesn't. In that case, if it doesn't work, now this is the blurb for seller support. And what I say here, it's mainly that you're experiencing a discrepancy in the information. So you are the information in the pro detail page is not accurate. And what you're trying to do is attaching your authority, right? And this is one of the cases that will require you to send proof. So manufacturer website, images, everything you could send, like anything, to prove that you're really that owner. Sometimes, so I like to send sometimes screenshots of the identity in the brand registry and the identity in Seller Central. So if you can send screenshot of the email being the same in both places, that will help you a bunch. So again, you're gonna ask them to fix this issue because it's inaccurate. And again, if you see my communication here, I didn't say anywhere it says that there is a discrepancy between brand registry and Seller Central. I didn't say that. What I said is that this is an inaccurate contribution and there is inaccurate information there, and that's why you need to change it. But what you're gonna prove to them is that ASIN is actually yours and that SKU is originally yours. Okay, so again, because you can do a disservice for yourself if you start just complicating the stuff of these issues. When I talk to you about this, for you to understand in theory and the principles behind the catalog, this doesn't really translate well when you do seller support communication. Okay, so make sure to stick to this kind of very simple, very polite, and don't really try to complicate stuff when it's not needed. This works all the time. Again, real images with the barcode, manufacturer website, and the batch ID. The highlights is that the discrepancy between the submissions. So in Seller Central, you have the gray letters on top of an attribute that say like what's the contribution that they are using right now, and under in the main box is the actual contribution that you're doing. When there's a discrepancy there, that's where you know that they are not reading you as the owner. So save the data in the original SKU. Escalation is needed, and the BLAMO is the name of the internal tool that you use. Again, I honestly don't know why I put this here. This doesn't gonna work for you. I mean, it's knowledge, and I believe it's just like a sexy thing to say, but it doesn't really work well when you mention those kind of acronyms to seller support. They just push back very hard. They're like, what? No, that doesn't exist, blah blah blah. But whatever, that's not the point. That's how you solve it. The last one is the backend discrepancy. So I don't know why it's not there, the definition, but the definition on this is the contribution in the backend, or in the catalog's backend, it is different or it is owned by a different entity. That could be another seller, could be a vendor, a retail, an internal team. So this doesn't really have, so let me just expand the slide. Okay. Um, you need flat files, and I'll say that 90% of the times this backend is no, 98% of the times this kind of discrepancy is only solved through cases. That's why I put in the severity that is high and very high. We are not able to override contributions from higher contributors just with flat files or through or through our dashboard. It's just something that doesn't happen. So that's why here it's the same, that you need the flat file to prove the batch ID and to prove that you want to put more information, but that won't change anything. And I have a couple of questions that you submitted that are related to that. So this is how you see, and this is so funny. The self-serving tool, this is what it says. When you request the change, it says like updates cannot be made to this pro detail page to one of the following reasons. Blank. Nothing. You don't get anything. So yeah, Amazon. That's basically it. Why? Because they will never tell you that this is because of somebody with higher contribution is overriding you. They don't do that. They don't tell you. Like, we know it because we understand the system well enough to see this as a very obvious thing, but they will never tell you. So if you see something like this, basically a blank reason, it is an attribution in the backend that is going through somebody else. Okay. So you see it in something like this, and this is the example in Seller Central, but also there is the example in the flat file where you want to have one name. For example, this product is Vans, but the system is telling me that Nike is the actual brand name for ASIN XXX. This is the error. So what we're seeing is like, no, the information that you're trying to change completely conflicts with whatever they have in the catalog. Okay, which is different of the contribution. If it is completely different from something not updating in the back end or something not updating in the front end. This is basically your information is wrong. Okay, so the treatment here, seller support solution. If the second type, if type number 2 is a 50-50, this again I say this is a 10-90. Like 10% of the times you could solve it in seller central, most times you cannot. So I wouldn't, if that's the situation you're facing, I will go straight. So once you have your main seller central account, you upload the information there, you change the original SKU, you did all those steps, go directly to seller support. There is nothing else you could do there. So the solution, this is the blurb. You're saying that you want to improve the buyer experience, and you have attached the necessary proof to verify that the information that you're trying to update describes the product. So this is not saying that not trying to explain to them why you need to be the main owner of this attribute or this product or this ASIN. What you're trying to do is saying like, you have inaccurate information and we're trying to change that information, and these are the proof. Okay, so obviously the first thing you say in each case, especially if you're a brand register, well, when you're a brand register, if you're not, if you're a reseller, don't just void the first part of what I say, we are the brand owner. Okay, but here we are not trying to prove ownership of the information. We're trying to prove that there is a discrepancy in the information and that it's not accurate. Okay, so again, this thing is a bunch of proof that you need to send. This is a case that, because it's a high and or very high severity, it's probably a case that it will need to be escalated, probably to a data augmenter, because those are the ones that are owning that, or a retail team if it's vendor. The catalog support, the captive team cannot do much for you in this case. When somebody with higher contributions, especially if you're a brand with higher contributions, do. Some cases could be resolved with brand registry. Most of the time, it's just leadership or the data augmenter. So highlights, this is the matching error. That's the name of the error, matching error of information. Okay, there is an external contribution and they have a tool for that. And there is another tool called the SKU remover. And this is a secret tool that not many seller support associates have access to it. But that erases all the catalog contributions automatically. So you don't need to wait for it. This is probably something that is not out there, and it's very complicated to get. But if you ever get somebody to solve this issue, or sorry, if you ever get somebody that has access to this tool, that's the person that could solve your issue automatically. Again, it's a matter of like asking. You first need to, so don't engage in a conversation, please. Like, if you want to be effective, don't engage in a conversation just as soon as they pick the phone, like, hey, you have access to SKU remover. Like, don't do that, because they will always tell you no. If it's at some point, like in the second touch, they still have this issue, you could refer to that and that'll help you. So when we run this framework, we have been able to change vendor contributions with a seller central account without raising the ticket to the retail team. So it is very effective. And now it's that we know that that's possible. If you would ask me 2-3 months ago, I'll tell you overriding vendor is impossible. Don't even waste your time with it. We did, and we done it. So it is possible. Okay, guys, time for questions. And I saw a bunch of questions that you guys told me, like here in the chat. But I'm gonna prioritize the one that you submitted, because you take the time to write those and put it in a form. So we're basically ended the session. That's the SOPs that I wanted to show you about do-it-yourself tools. We have a bunch of different processes. Again, what I'm trying to do here with the ABC week is just testing content and saying, like, getting your feedback. If you have an issue and I touch one SOP that serves you and it helps you, please let me know. Send me an email, send me a DM, or send me, I don't know, smoke in the air and tell me, yeah, Vanessa, it worked or it didn't. I want to know those things, because I want to know what you face. So whatever I put out there in the content wise, especially when we build a course, is to have the most accurate and better information, because we have been doing this, or I've been doing this for over 5 years. And obviously when I work with a catalog situation, I'm very uh good. I'm like, yeah, I can solve it fast. But that's not the reality for most of you. So what I want to create is content that is like seller friendly. You don't really need to be a master of flat files. You don't really need to be a master of the catalog to solve your issues. Diane, the best way to reach me directly. So best way, fastest one is Instagram. I look at my DMs all the time, and I'm on top of that. Email, I'll probably say is the second one. I have my email open all the time, but again, with emails, I get like there is a lack. Yeah, that those two, and obviously my team. If you email us to hello@fulltimeamazon.com, that email gets answered super fast. So I have an amazing team that is on top of communications, so they do a great job there. Okay, going back to questions. For the ones that are here, that you think that you got what you wanted, and that's good, amazing. That's basically the end. I'm now gonna run through the same framework with the questions that you sent. So answering everything, and thank you so much for the guys of you that came here, see me. It's Friday, 5 p.m. in Eastern time. I know you guys are ready for the long weekend, so I really appreciate you being here. Let's go to the questions. So let me pull up the presentation again. The first question I put here, just let me, okay. Can you update the typical way hijackers actually change your listing? Okay, I think this is an Andy question. Andy, I already answered this question in session number 2. So if you guys wanna know what's the framework they use, go to the second session. I said that probably at the very end. And what I think hijackers do, it's again my opinion, my perspective, my experience. There is probably a lot of more techniques out there that they do. I don't know. How do you unlock the ability to use subject fields that may not normally be available in your category? That's an amazing question. That was answered in the second webinar, where we talk about how to get sibling category reports, flat files, and just like copying and pasting or inserting those columns into your flat file. So that's how you do it. There is no like a special ability, or there is no a button that you turn on and off to get that. It's just a matter of doing it, right? Some will work, some will not. And if they don't work, the system will tell you it doesn't work, and that's fine. And if they work and they run through, you have it. So one of the things that I'll say about borrowing attributes from other categories is that we have 3 scenarios. The first scenario is that you do it and it doesn't work, right? The system bounce back and say like, this is inaccurate, this is whatever. There is an error. So we're basically, what they're trying to say is that, hey, this attribute is not relevant for this, or it conflicts with whatever they have. Perfect. That's a good framework. We already know. The second option is that it goes through, meaning that there is no errors in the upload you do, but it's not reflecting in the front end. And this is probably my favorite type of scenario of attributes. Why? Because it means that in the back end, they're receiving it. They're receiving that information. I can basically put keywords there, right? But it's not shown in the front end. So it works for keyword stuffing. It's amazing for that. And because you don't see it, it still helps you rank. How do they help you? And I'll say this, they don't help you. They help indexing. And that's the other thing. I know we put out a reel on Instagram that said like, do you have problem ranking? And I probably use ranking and indexation as an interchangeable term, but it is not. Indexation is that you're actually shown when somebody uses that keyword. So you are there in the page number 4, okay? You are indexing. But ranking is a different beast. Ranking is like, how can I rank up in the results, right? We always want to go in rank 1, meaning like rank number 1 for that keyword, and that's a different stuff. We don't cover that here. What we are trying to do is helping you have the most amount of space in the backend, the most amount of search engine optimized information, so you are indexed for that. Ranking is another thing, because ranking needs to do with conversions. If you are indexing for a keyword, let's say you have a garlic press and you are indexing for toaster, which doesn't have anything to do about it, if you're indexing for toaster, that doesn't mean that you're gonna rank well on toaster. Why? Because you're probably never gonna convert in that keyword. That makes sense. Perfect. Okay. Another question. What is the best way to understand the accepted answers to submit in the fields, rather than making up answers that you think are acceptable? There is any reference library for all fields? Yes, it is. Great question. I covered that in webinar number 2, and it is the tab in the category listing report called valid values. Okay, in the valid values tab, you can find the attribute name, and you can find examples. They give you examples, or they give you, if it's a drop down menu, they give you what are the options they have for that attribute. Most times when we're talking about subjective attributes, for example, I sell a cup, and my cup could be cotton candy white, okay, which is different from white. It's different. Just I made that name up, right? So that attribute is something that I think or I made up for my product, but that's not the framework that Amazon has. So, for example, in color, if they're telling me that the valid values are black, white, and yellow, but mine is cotton candy white, that's different. Okay, and you're able to put that in the fields that are open, meaning that they're open fields and not drop down menus. So we have the valid values. Also, in the first session, I talk about the browse tree guide. Those browse tree guides are your best friends to learn more about attributes, get more examples, and get more data definitions in case you don't find them in your category listing report tab in the data, the valid values data tab. Okay. Is any feature available in flat files in which we download all the inventory data inside the single flat file? Yeah, it's called the category listing report. Yeah, we talk about that in number 1, number 2, number 3, and all over my social media channels. It's just category listing report is my best friend. Hey Vanessa, can I use a flat file to adjust product pictures, and how can I do this? Thank you. Hey, yes, you can. And I covered that in the second session. It is the section that is yellow in your flat files. And I show you there how you can use a URL to input it in the flat file. You can use a URL from a website. I use the website called Imgur, imgur.com. Or you can take them straight from Amazon or from your manufacturer website. You can just put it there and upload it. That's basically how you do it. That's the only space you have to change images, and it's very, very useful to do that, because when you do it through a flat file, it attaches or sticks better to the front end than just using the UI. Thank you for the question. Is any feature available in flat files which we download the inventory data? Okay, that's a repeated question. How to fix all battery related columns which are product is not a battery included product? Amazing question. This is amazing. Okay, let's run this problem through our framework. There are two scenarios here. It could happen that you have a product that is not batteries and have information about a battery, which means that somebody else contribute to that listing and have wrong information. And I think I got a longer question. I don't know if it's in more slides down the road, but I got a question, a very long question about the product having a battery type A, and now because you have that information, it's getting into the dangerous goods program and it's under review. Basically, when they flag an ACID that wasn't hazmat, and now they flag it a hazmat and it's in FBA, they put it in something that's called quarantine. So they are quarantining this inventory to investigate if it's actually a battery thing, while at the same time you need to be proactively changing that information. So the body related columns are in the brownish purple compliance section, and you can change it if you have first obviously the authority, so you are the owner of the ASIN, we already know that. um and you can change it there. If you're not, and I believe the question that somebody asked me, they told me that they are the reseller, this could probably, well, this will be extremely hard for you, because the information that they are getting from the hazmat or for the battery is coming from the owner of the list. So it will take you some effort to prove to Amazon that this is actually not a battery. So you need to send pictures, you need to send manufacturer website, you need to change, say, send like directions, manuals, or whatever you have to prove that that product doesn't have battery. But again, this section, if you want to do it through a flat file, because you have the complete ownership of the situation, it's in the purple brownish compliance section at the end of the category listing report. Okay, how to send, how to set properly listing price, the map price, and the sale price through a flat file. Amazing question. So there are, I think in the flat file we have like three different places where we can put pricing. One is called, and I'm referring here because I have the thing open, something called, and maybe if I share my screen with you guys it'll be better. Okay, I promise I'm not messing this up this time. Okay, you see it here? If you see my screen, okay. Your price. So that's the standard underscore price. That's basically the selling price. It's not map. That's the selling price. Whatever price you want your customers to purchase the product at. Okay. The map pricing, on the other hand, is different, which is the MSRP. You know, the manufacturer, manufacturer selling retail price. Well, I don't remember what the MSRP stands for. But this one here, it's called map underscore price. So if you want to look in your flat file, you can just like click the third row, then go to find, and then find it. So you click map underscore price, and it shows here. So what this will give me, that price needs to be higher than your selling price, which is the standard price we saw at the beginning. Why? Because what you want to do is have that strike through. So if you go to Amazon, sometimes you see like 40.99, and you see it that with a strike through, and then the selling price is 19.99. So you're getting an offer, even though we like most sellers just made these things up because we own the listing, so we can put whatever. So these are the two, and there is another one which is the sale price, because with the flat file you can also do sell a sale price here. That's in the red section, and sell price is different. So you have three prices. You have the map MSRP, you have the list price, which is the one that you want to have them buying from all the time, and you have the sale price, which is a promotion. And this column is directly attached, or it has, it is dependent on these other two. So the start sell day and the start end date. And you need to have that. You need to have a date to start and a date to end the sell. You cannot have a sell price forever. And I do recommend you that you shouldn't be running sales with a lot of time, because if you do, you're gonna lose the ability to have that map pricing, the other column that I show you here. You're gonna have the map price, you're not gonna have it on the listing, and you will miss the strike through. And strike through, I seen that it helps with conversion a bunch. Like it really creates an impact on the customer of that feeling of like, I'm getting a super deal, So make sure that the sale, if you're doing a sale, don't run it too long. And too long, it's no more than 60 days at a time. Okay, so don't do it 90 days, just do it 45 instead of 60. Like once you do it 60 or more, you're gonna lose that stride through. Okay, perfect. Going back to the slides. Manufacturer recommended price. Yeah. No, but MSRP, it's manufacturer selling recommended price. I don't remember. You guys know more than me in this. Okay. What's the difference between MSRP and list price? So, Clifford, what I just said. So let me just put the example on Amazon and I can explain you better. Um, Again, I'm gonna share my screen. Standard price map, MSRP, list price, and sale price. Yeah, in the on Amazon, it's only standard price, map price, and sell price. So list price and standard price is the same. So you guys see my screen. So you guys see here, I just look for chocolate. And there's no example chocolate. There's no offers on chocolate. Incredible. Oh yeah, this is an example. So if you see here, 24.48 is the map price. That's the map. That's the manufacturer recommended price, whatever, right? But the list price or the standard price, which is the same, list price, standard price is 21.85. So that's why you see a strike through here. And if I click in the listing, I see that price there. It was strike through, and now it is. That's the sell thing. It's like, and it's extremely. We think, or I don't know, you guys, if you think that this is not impactful, it creates a huge impact in your sales. And I've seen it, how when sellers lose it, when they lose that mad pricing, just like strike through, the amount of conversions go down. So yeah, that's an example. I think in other categories like electronics, I don't know, computers, well, probably computer is not. Phone cases, phone stuff. Let's see. They are more obvious, so they are bigger. You see it here. You see it bigger. It was 17.99. Now it's 12.99. Right? And on top of that, so this is the perfect example. I love this. 17.99 is the map price. 12.99 is the list or standard price, and they have a coupon of 5%. So they have a sale on top of that. On top of the 12.99, they have a higher sale of 5%. So in this situation, and look at that, the chocolate example didn't have that. But now the Amazon is telling me that this product costs 28% less than the manufacturer. Again, this is for a seller, for a customer. It's like, oh my God, I'm getting a huge deal. This is probably just made up. These guys are probably getting this at 90 cents in China, and they're selling it for 12.99. But again, we're like, playing with that psychology, consumer psychology. So does that make sense? Let's go back to the slides. Help desk tickets, unclear especially. I have having issues finding all help desk tickets. I took an assessment unclear especially. Please welcome. Oh, amazing, Hugh. I don't know. Did you put the link on it? Probably. So if you want to send me that link on a DM, because I believe when you put a link on YouTube as a commenter, other people cannot see it. So I cannot see it. I don't see it here. So if you send it to us right now on a DM, we can put it in the comments and people will be able to see your link. But that's amazing. Thank you so much. Appreciate the help, and I love this community. You guys are awesome. Okay, as a brand owner, this one, I saw this question. Okay, let's run it. Okay, I created my product listing and I'm the brand owner. Amazing. Well, like, you're doing it right. Okay, I have transparency, another program that is super cool if you're having a bunch of hijackers. Okay, have one SKU which was made in country A overseas. Once that runs out, I will replace it with an improved version made in country B. I want to use the same listing to update country of origin. In Seller Central, Amazon put a lock in the country of origin field so it cannot be changed. Also, I want to update images, description, title, blah, blah, blah. What do you recommend? One, should I wait until my current or inventory runs out and I'm out of stock before I change the listing? Two, should I use a flat file to change the country of origin? Great question. First of all, it looks like, I don't know, I'm doing like I'm getting to conclusions, but that's, I don't know if it's true. But you're saying that you're not only change the country, but you actually change a little bit or a lot on your listing. So that means that you need to change images, that you need to change description, and you need to change titles. There are two things you can do. If you're really changing a lot, you will probably come across to the situation where Amazon will tell you this is basically a different product. This is basically a new product, okay? And the recommendation there, and what they will tell you is that you need to create a new ASIN. In that case, you could create a new ASIN as an updated version of the old one and use it as a variation of the main listing that you already have, so you're not losing reviews and you're not losing ranking and you're not losing all that. So it could be another one. So in my mind, I can create a new ASIN with different information, with all of it different, right? Updated, like same but different at the same time, updated, new version 2.0. And it could live at the same time with the old version, right? So in that case, you don't need to wait for the inventory to run out to start selling the new version. That's an option. The other option, if you want to wait to run out, do it. You could probably go through a lot of bumps throughout the journey of changing information if there is something there in the back end, some discrepancy, or so for example, you said that the country of origin, it's locked. It is locked. It's something that I don't know if I think we were able to change it with flat files. Literally, that's something that we did 2 days ago for a seller. We changed the country of origin. That wasn't a big thing. I know that in Seller Central though, it is a little lock. So it is possible to change it through flat files. If that's not if that doesn't work for you, obviously always open the case and run it through the type number 2, which is inaccurate information, or the authorized contributor. So that you say like, oh, this is inaccurate information. Now this listing is it's made in, I don't know, instead of China, it's made in India, right? But my recommendation, if this was my product, I will do a variation, and I will do the version 2.0, so I can live with both ASINs and have inventory at the same time in the same thing, and like advertise it as a better version, right? Hugh, how do I DM? So DM us on Instagram. Is at fulltime.amazon, or send me an email, vanessa@fulltimeamazon.com. Yeah, they already put the link there. Thank you, guys. Okay, what other questions? So when requesting the category listing report, it says that it's only open for 7 days. Does this mean that you request a new one every week, or there is a limit to this? So no, there is no limits. You could request it whenever you want. But the thing is, if you request it today you make the improvements, you make all the optimizations, and you have an amazing, beautiful category listing report, you don't really need to request it ever again, right? Because technically you are working with your most updated category listing report forever. What you want to get in the category listing report is just the frame, like the structure, right? You want the file. Once you have it, use the most updated one that you are using. Requesting it every week, it is a thing. You could do it if you want, but it won't give you anything different. Especially if you are doing the method of borrowing sibling attributes. Sometimes when you download the category listing report back again, you won't see those sibling attributes. So that's why if you're gonna optimize it once and save that. That will be your category listing report forever. Okay. What flat file fields trigger the number up? This is a Diane question. I need to get back to you on this. I'm sorry, I didn't have the chance to look for the third row to get the name of the thing that gets the numbers. I'll get back to you guys, and as soon as I promise that I'll have this answer for Monday. Um, yeah, sorry. When downloading my inventory file template, should it be for the category and subcategory Amazon has put in, even if it's not the correct category and subcategory? Amazing question, love it. For example, your category should be kitchen and dining, teacups, but they changed it to health and household disposable cups. To make changes to your listing, should you download an inventory file template for disposable cups, even though it should be teacups? Amazing question. Two things here. Let's talk first about category. Category is a thing that is not possible to change through flat files. It could be changed through the self-serving tool, and when you or when you try to make a change through the self-serving tool in the category, the system will automatically open a case for you, and somebody in seller support will look at that, and if it makes sense they will approve it. If it doesn't make sense they will reject. Okay, that's the first thing. So there is no way to change it there. But in your example, and this is perfect to talk about sibling categories, if your product could be, if it makes a little sense, just 20% sense, that this is a disposable cup, you should be using the attributes for that category and the attributes for teacups under kitchen and dining and optimizing that. The question there is where do you want to place your item, in what subcategory you want to place your item into? And this is a question that is not solved through flat file. You need to solve this through seller support. But if you have both flat file, I mean, if you have a flat file with both attributes, both for teacups and for disposable cups, you are getting the most amount of attributes and a bigger range on possibilities on what information you can put there. So I hope this helps to solve your question. The, the decision there is like, here is not, if Amazon change your category, you can request to change it back again. In that case, I will refer to catalog issue number 3. It's where that contribution came from an internal team that is overriding you, so you need to prove to them that that's an accurate information. But if you guys come to the situation of like, hey Vanessa, there's 4 different subcategories that make sense for my listing to be at, what should I decide to put it under? It's up to you. It's where do you see the highest velocity? And I will say that what have been working for us is the smaller niche is the one that's better. So if teacups, it's a huge selling, high velocity, high competition, high selling like subcategory, but disposable cups are not. And again, it makes sense for your listing. Probably this doesn't make sense, but if it makes sense for your listing, I would put it in disposable instead of tea because I could make a higher impact. I could get more market share under disposable than under teacups. I hope that makes sense. Perfect. So I missed the first class. I'm sorry. You can watch the presentation. How can I get that? Oh, well. Yeah, this question doesn't have to be here. If you're signed up for it, you're gonna get all of it on Monday, so don't worry. You can watch it forever. And you guys are in my special list of people that pay attention to me in this week. So when I come up with a course, you guys gonna have a huge offer, or you're gonna be my beta users for free. I don't know what we're gonna do, but I promise you guys that you're gonna get something out of it. And thank you so much for being here, being stick with me for so long on a Friday. Okay, I think I don't have. This is the last one. Yeah, this is the last question. I've been selling a product on Amazon for 2 years, and I have been working on improving a second version, which will show release elevations as completely what looks slightly different. Version 2.0. Okay, this is the same thing that we had in the other question. So, what is your recommendation in terms of cataloging this product? Should it be a variation of the original? Blah, blah, blah. How can I update the system listing? And also, I saw Amazon log most important information, country and origin. Maybe this is the same person that asked the other question. This is the same answer. I already answered this. Um, Perfect. So I don't know if we guys. I think that you guys send me. I don't know, Hugh. Were you able to send us the link of your framework so we can share it before everybody goes? We still have some people here that we can share that, and you guys are getting the most amount. So much contribution. I love this community. It's so cool. Can you use a flat file to change the manufacturer attribute? We have an old listing that's suited dropping for the Paradise. Joey, no. Manufacturer is one of those things that need to be run through sales support. It's not possible to change it through flat files. Manufacturer, brand name, everything that is in the first section, like the required attributes of a listing, that is not price, obviously, or title. That's easy to change, but manufacturer, item type, which is category, a brand name, all of those attributes are locked. Sometimes country of origin is there, and it is also locked. So that's a seller support thing. Speaking of launch date is locked. Really? Is there any way around that? Sometimes we launch date. Oh, I never seen the launch date as a locked contribution. This is the first time I hear that. Weird. Uh hmm. This is interesting. I don't know. That that probably if that's the thing, I will probably run it through the first type of catalog issue, which is the data desynchronization. I will delete it and upload it again completely and refresh the launch date. But that is a that is a flexible attribute. Again, I'm sorry, Diane. Like honestly, the catalog it's a beast in itself. It has life, and sometimes things that I say. So, and this is a great example. Sometimes I run through problems, and you will say like, "Oh, Vanessa, but that's bullshit. Like you said something that is not right." Uh, Yeah, sometimes the catalog behaves in a very mysterious way, and that's why I love it so much. It changed so much, and it's so different all the time. But yeah, no, I don't know. Okay, so I don't know. Thank you so much. I cannot wait. I will keep a remote team using the same style of names. Thank you. Can a flat file override log files at all? Example launch date. Yeah, then I know. I never. So I haven't seen that. Haven't seen that. I email it. So Hugh, email us the link. My team will put it in the chat real quick. You guys, please, if you can put that so the people here can just get that form there. And thank you so much. Happy Friday. And lastly, I just gonna say that you can contact us. So somebody in the webinar number 1 or 2 ask us like, hey, how can I work with you? So all of the things that I'm talking about, it's basically what we do at the agency. And that's something that sometimes is so complex for us to explain it, but we are problem solvers. We solve all these issues. We have a bunch of experience, a great team. And if you have any issues, if you have any questions, or if you ever get stuck throughout the journey of solving it, because at the end of the day, I think that a lot of it could be solved by yourself if you have the right tools, and that's why you're here and that's why you want to learn. But if you get stuck at some point, feel free to contact us. You can scan that QR code or go to onlinesellersolutions.com. That's the name of the agency. You can have more information. Our website right now, it's actually in the making. So we are relaunching our website this month. That will be a way cooler website. In there, we're going to have a section called free resources, where I'm gonna be putting content out, like SOPs, frameworks, or things to fix catalog issues. And for you guys, obviously, is to help you, to make you and your teams more efficient. And yeah, thank you so much, so much for being here with me. We went over again on Friday night. Thank you. And have an amazing weekend, long weekend for the people that are here in America. Happy Labor Day, I think is on Monday. So you guys enjoy like all of the content that I gave you. And if you wanna keep like studying more, feel free on Monday. Or yeah, Monday, I'm gonna send out all the recordings, all the PDFs, so you have everything. And again, feel free to reach out any of the questions that you have. DM on Instagram is the fastest way for me to see it and reply most of the times. And I can even send you a voice note if the situation is too complex. And email is way more formal. My team at hello at full-time Amazon, it's very fast replying in questions, like way faster than I am. But again, they're rock stars. Thank you so much. And I hope you have an amazing weekend again. Thank you, thank you, thank you.